topic of today, it's going to be something that should be extremely interesting for you, because it's a topic that's gonna help you to make all your projects in a very good way, very professional way, and most of all, will give you control over your project and not go to a period of super stress because you don't know how to complete your project, or which action you had to do before and which action you should do after, etc., etc. So what we're gonna talk is planning, how we make a planning for your project and how we act the planning for during the project execution. And I want to give it to you this topic explanation today because, or lecture as you want, because I see many students that when they make their projects, also some younger colleagues, it arrives a moment where they start panic. And why? Because lots of activities come back together, that have to be done. And sometimes it is possible that people that don't have much experience feel like they cannot do everything, and therefore they panic because they know that they have to complete the project in a given time, and they sometimes are desperate. They're desperate. They don't know how to do. So first of all, planning for me, it's my best friend every time I have to make a project. From the smallest project to the most complex project, the planning is the first thing I ask to the team that will work on that project. The reason is very simple. If I don't have a planning, I risk very strongly to work too much on creativity, okay? So in ideation sketching, for example, and not enough time for the model execution, which means modeling, virtual or real modeling and stuff. And when we make a project, we know that we have a starting date and we must have a finish or completing date to which the project has to be delivered. Because if we make something, it's because we want to finish this something. And when we talk about design projects, whether it's a product, a graphic design project, an advertising design, or a transportation design like it would be for us, we must have a planning. So I will use a paper and a felt tip pen to make a few graphics, okay, on which we will talk together. So if this is the time, okay, we know that at this date, all right, which let's say it's December 23, which means 2023, okay, not the date, 2023, okay, our project has to be delivered, okay, so finish. All right, so when we start a project in general, all the briefing and the team members that talk about the project, that illustrate the project, what do? They tell us we're making a project that will be in production or that has to be delivered at this date, okay? So let's suppose it's our December 2023. Now, when we make a production project, we know that it's gonna take roughly 3 years. Now, let's suppose we are making a project that is for production, okay? So 3 years. So today we are in 2020, so we have 3 years to make it. And I'm sure many of you are saying, wow, lots of time. So we can really do this project super well. Yeah. The only problem is that we have to know that when we start the production activities for a project that has been chosen, we know the design in every single detail, and therefore we act to start the production project activities until we get to the final prototyping before production. Those are called the pre-production prototypings, and the real launch to the public. Okay, that part, it's about 2 years. So 2022, 2021, always December. Okay, so as you can see, I changed now. I took all the time we have and I divided compared to the date of today. Today, here we are, October 2020, right? Okay, so if I know that starting here, all this part, it's taken by engineers, and here we will have a role, but I will explain to you which role. You understand that the timing that design has to do everything, it's roughly 1 year. Okay, roughly 1 year. And what do we have to do? So, first thing to understand is that when somebody tells you we have a project that will go in production in 3 years, you have to right away understand on a planning the time you really have available to make that project. And if it's going to be exactly in 3 years or a little bit less than 3 years, you almost starting to run out of time already. So the planning is very important because it's really our design process applied to timing. And therefore we have to learn how to program this. Which are all the activities that design has to make, or a design team has to make, in order to accomplish, this date, delivery, which is called design freeze. And it's called design freeze here. It's called design freeze because it means that when we give here all the virtual model, full-scale model of everything, means that it's frozen. We cannot change anything anymore. Zero. Why? Because of course everything has been developed together to make sure that the project we made, it's cost efficient. Therefore, that's why we cannot change, because as we move something, that cost equation will change. And because we are talking about a production project, you cannot do that. So that means that all the agreements, the engagements, the commitments taken during this year will arrive to December 2021, and there it's fixed forever. So, how many activities do we have in design? Well, you will say, yeah, we have to create, so we have to sketch. Bravo, that's correct. And then you will think we have to select concept. And I say again, bravo, you're right. Bravo, no bravo like French. Bravo, you're right. And then you will imagine, yeah, but we have to make a virtual model, because today with computer we can model, see everything, still change very quickly. And I say again, yes, that's what we have to do. And then what do we do with this alias model or any software model? We have to mill the first model. We have to check the model. We have to touch with our hands the model. We have to change and modify the model, because many mistakes will be there. So what happens at the end? That we have many activities to do, to make, that are very time consuming. And even if they are time consuming, we have to decide how many days for this, how many weeks for that, how many months for the other. And that's something that will also have a cost in terms of human being. You know, how many people are in the team, how many times I have to go and make models, how much is the cost of a model. So that's a design budget, okay? Design budget. How much money do we have to make the whole design? I don't know, for example, $1 million that we will spend during 1 year. In this $1 million means that we have also the people that are working, my salary, you know, the modeler salary, the cost of electricity, the machines, the milling machine, everything. And we have to check all those parameters to make sure that in the program, our cost, it is compatible with the main project cost. Because the project is as a whole, not just design. So the main project says that every department has a budget, because the big project has, I don't know, just to say, $10 million. Then 1 million is for design, another million is for, I don't know, marketing, another 3 million is for engineering, because they do a lot of work that is very expensive. And then 4 million, so at the end, we have those 10 millions. So from those $10 million, we take our million and we have to spend it. And we will spend it doing all those activities that I listed before. But now, which are the timing of those activities? So I can tell you very roughly that 1 month is for ideation. Another month and a half, it's to knock down, to nail down a design or two designs. Then we have another month for one design that will be chosen, and then let's say that we make the alias model, which is going to be a month and a half, and then we go on to models. We apply a few changes, again in virtual. We can also mill two different models, because from one design we can make several alternatives. Okay, so let's say we make two alternatives, because with $1 million we won't have really a lot of money to make lots of models, and therefore we'll arrive to 2 or 3 presentations, so that those models will be modified and the virtual model will also follow, so that those virtual model data or file will arrive to the very end day, which is 1 year later. And that file will be given to engineering suppliers to make the real car. Okay, I'm trying to make it simple, so that you understand, because it's a little bit more complicated than that. But anyway, if you have been careful about everything I said, you understand that our year, it's already set up. So I would say that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 months or 5 months, which is really real model. Okay? Then we have a virtual model. Then we have a concept choice, which is 2D concept, 2D. This is 3D virtual. This is 3D real. And then the first part is brainstorming. Okay, so now I show you. Let's check together so that we understand a little more. So when we make our planning, we never start from here. We start from the very end. It's called retro planning, okay? We start from the day or the date or the month of delivery. And then we start putting together the timing for every single activity that we have to develop. So we said 4, 5, 6 months, it depends on complexity of virtual 3D modeling. When I say virtual 3D modeling, means that the engineering is helping us. It's not that it's only design. We are doing everything in a very scientific way, means with engineers, architects, and all the people that will follow us technically to make sure that we don't just make fine art modeling, but something that is real, that can be used. So it's here. This part is the beginning of the virtual model. Here the feasibility is not very high. I would say around 70%, 50%. It is why? Because we are transferring for the first time on virtual our concept idea, which is only 2D, which means it's only very nice sketches done whether in Photoshop or by hand, but it's on the right proportion with the right ingredients, but we don't know if it's really feasible. We will know after we make the first virtual model, because that model will be analyzed by our colleagues in engineering, and they will use their software to analyze our file. So they will make lots of sections, and then we'll put all the parts that are inside the car, and then they will tell us whether we are right or wrong, or if we have to modify. So this part here is very important, this period, because there, what do we have? We have lots of changes and interactions between design and engineering architecture department. This is really the core business of our design process development, because if we don't do that, we really don't know what we are doing, and we cannot do this after. It will be too late, because starting from here, the company is preparing everything to go into production, so we cannot be late, because as if we are late here, let's say 1 extra month, they cannot compress this time. It's impossible to compress. Therefore, they should change the launching date of the real car presentation. And this is impossible. This is really impossible. There are people that lose their job for that. So we know that we must be in this space, okay, in this time frame. Okay, so before the virtual, we said we do 2D because we have the concept choices, and then we have our brainstorming period, which is almost 2-3 weeks, which means that everybody, all the designers that are working on this in competition for this creative project, okay, to find the right ideas, the right concept to start with, and then develop a new idea and a new beautiful car, okay, or vehicle. It's done in that early stage. So now when I show you this, you understand why I say this is our best friend. Because if I am concentrated only on the design planning, okay, which is my full responsibility, okay, 100%, where we have a design manager, like for example the job I make, we have designers, design directors that say I don't like this, I like that, therefore you have to change, and then the design manager will interact with the engineering to say this is what we want, let's work out to make it real, to make it work, all that stuff. So this is the fact that I know how much time I have for designers and design management. It's a great advantage, because it's that the tool that will give you full control of what you have to do. You will never be late if you respect this timing, those dates, those milestones. Those are the milestones, okay? You will never have to be late to a presentation milestone date. You never have to be late to a design review. You never have to be late to a design engineering review, which usually is done every week, where you, for about 2 hours, you have all the problems that come out from the technical analysis of our design virtual model, and therefore they explain what's not working, you talk to them and say, can we do this, can we do that? In some cases you are right, some cases you are wrong. That means that you have to go back and ask designers to rework some stuff, because unless they will never pass. So this first part shows us very important thing. Wait, I take another color. I take a green color, because it shows also strategy that we can use in terms of design management. What I call the double strategy, the double design strategy, okay? Double design strategy. In the first part, okay, when we are really here into the design heavy duty period, okay, this one, the green zone, okay, the strategy that design must have is kind of aggressive. I explain myself a little better. Design makes a design, okay? Designers, a design director, there is a choice, an internal choice, and everybody decide that the project A is the most creative, is the best one, and that's what we have to do in production. Then we do this with product planning people, that are the people that organize the briefing and they know the market, and marketing people, so that we all agree. But we have the engineers that have all their hard points, their problematics, the cost for everything is always too high and stuff. So what happens in this first part? That we have a kind of aggressive, strong, secure, firm engagement, commitment in pushing our design with all our forces and against all odds. That means that design managers, in every meeting, every time that somebody is trying to change, things, they say, no, you're wrong, we're gonna do like that, because that's what we have to do. Once we arrive to the point where we get to this point, which we deliver our project that has been defended as strong as possible until the end, and everybody agrees that economically it's okay, feasibility is okay, marketing is happy, product planning is happy, and everybody, design is very happy, and everything is fine, then we get to another period of design strategy, which I call soft design support. And let me write it here, okay? It's this part here. This is the soft design support. This one here. What does it mean? That I will not have 5 designers, the design directors, the design managers, or a lot of people that follow the project until the end before production. I will have the design manager of the project that will follow meeting and will be a support for helping every time there will be a little problems. In this case, problems are really very small, like a millimeter surface, little radius that should be a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, or a cut line that should move of 2 millimeters, because sometimes technical problems are also like that. The closer we arrive to the real production project, all those little things will come out, okay? Because we went from a macro feasibility, okay, to a micro feasibility, and that's normal because we want to go to production, so we cannot make mistakes, we cannot forget things that are important in order to put in production a car, okay, in order to complete the car. So for this reason, in that case, we are not there to, like in a war, you must do this and I don't move my millimeters. No. The second part, it's a soft support done by design. And if there is something really big, then in that case, it's a big political decision, because sometimes we lose, sometimes we win, which means some extra cost. It's very rare, but anyway, can happen, okay? And then when we do that, we will make sure that all our colleagues, okay, of this project team will be able to get to this point here, where we make this part here, the running prototypes here, which are made to check everything. Did we really do everything right? Is really this the car with all defaults or little details that is what we want? And of course, there we will find new problems, but this time are more connected to suppliers or stamping problems. And those are problems that can be solved technically. So we just have to make sure during those meetings that we make that are very technical, to make sure that the design is there to how can I say, to like a guardian, okay? To make sure that they don't forget to solve the problem, okay? To avoid perceived quality problem, for example, which is for the product and for design is very, very important. And then, of course, once this part is finished, then we really see what we call pre-series car. So the first real cars that come out from the facilities, for the company. And then, of course, we have our launch, official launch to the public of our project. Okay, with this I hope that you understood the reasons behind the importance of planning, programming a project, that the design project, it's not just a design project planning, but is a planning that has to be part of a bigger planning, which is called master project planning. And according to that master project planning, we have to program our activities to make sure that our time is not too short, okay, but is not too long to create problems to other departments. And then we saw also the double design strategy in project management, where the first part, it's basically design driven by design with a certain, I would say, power, okay? And then the second part, it's a soft support to make sure that big mistakes are not are solved, and every time there is some little things that we can change that will not destroy our design, but that will help the project to be a better project, we have to be there, of course, to say, yes, you can do it. I check, I control, and I will validate that modification because it's the right thing to do. It's a responsible thing to do for the project, okay? So I hope that you like this video, and that's it for today. Thank you very much, and bye-bye. Ciao. If you liked it, share this video. Ciao.